The ANC finds itself in a massive diplomatic disaster after the executive order by President Donald Trump mandating the United States to stop all foreign aid to South Africa. Now, within that executive order, the thing that most people realized first or that drew the most attention was where he talked about the racial laws discriminating specifically against Afrikaners. Now, for those of you that don't know, I've talked to some people within the US, and when the United States now refer to Afrikaners, it refers basically to white South Africans. The United States basically sees all white South Africans as Afrikaners. Now, as I said, that was the part that most people realized first, but the other part that was actually much more damaging to the ANC is also the fact that the United States now sees the South African government led by the ANC as a threat to its national security. But why does the US say that? There's a lot of things being uncovered right now that I don't think many people know about, that the ANC is busy with, that we will discuss in length, not only in this video, but on many other videos on this channel. So, good morning dear friends, this is Willem Petzer speaking. Sorry for starting a bit late. The camera's battery that I wanted to use was flat when I came home, or to the studio from home. So, be sure to subscribe for more news like this, and be sure to join our WhatsApp group on the Willem Petzer group. Just WhatsApp your name and surname to that number. We'll put you on the group and we'll keep you updated with all the work that we are doing. So, Sunday, this article was published within the Sunday Times. SA envoys to lobby allies before heading to the US. And then it says team will travel to France, Germany, China, Brazil and other allies to try muster support ahead of talks in Washington over breakdown in relations. Now, this article was basically a lot of things that we already discussed on this channel. And the only interesting part to me here was this part here, these three paragraphs. Their mission is to counter the biggest diplomatic crisis South Africa has faced since democracy in 1994, precipitated this month when President Donald Trump cut all aid to the country because of its anti-Israel stance and alleged land grabs together with white Afrikaners. The team, whose members will be named after President Cyril Ramaphosa, returns from an AU summit in Addis Ababa this weekend, will travel to France, Germany, the EU headquarters in Brussels, China, Brazil, and other members of BRICS before going to the US. Now, this is the most interesting part right here. Our first stop can't be the US because Trump would likely want to humiliate us, close the door on us, or send junior officials, a senior government official said. We need to go to our allies. We need to reach out to the global south because this is not solely about Trump. This is about our G20 agenda and fostering partnerships while also bolster the partnerships we enjoy. So, what is the ANC thinking here? The first thing coming to mind when they say that Trump will try to humiliate them is, what is he going to humiliate them with? Is he going to humiliate them with the facts of the matter? But it goes a lot deeper than this. And let's talk about the US first, and then we talk about Europe and the other so-called allies of the ANC that they say they do enjoy. So, within the executive order that Donald Trump signed, he said that the ANC government South Africa is a national security threat to the United States. And that is not because of the ICJ case against Israel. That has nothing to do with national security threats within the United States. I mean, it's quite obvious that one country taking another country to the International Court of Justice would not be a threat to a completely different country's national security. And a lot of people have scratched their heads over this and didn't really know what the United States meant within this specific wording. But then stories started coming out, and we're going to do a lot more about this on this channel. And it is about the relationships between Iran and South Africa. Now, the United States have indicated that they have tracked how the money flowed from Iran to South Africa and back and forth, as well as the fact that the ANC did receive funding not as the country but as a party from Iran in order to save them from bankruptcies essentially, and also to bolster the election campaign within the last election. But the most damaging part comes when we start talking about the Iran nuclear deal, and also the fact that South Africa has indicated that it is willing to work with Iran within this nuclear deal. Now, of course, the indication that South Africa is willing to work within this deal does not mean that South Africa is not working already with Iran within the nuclear deal. It means that South Africa is finally admitting the fact that they are willing to work within this deal, and also admitting to the fact that they are open towards this relationship with an enemy of the United States. Now, Iran is probably the most sanctioned country, especially by the United States and its allies, as it currently stands. Iran is seen as the biggest threat to national security to the United States, also at this stage. And the most damaging part of all of this is that the United States sees Iran as a country that's funding terrorism all over the world. Now, let's get back to Europe. A lot of the European countries have experienced a wave of Islamist terrorist attack within, not even just within the last 2 years when it picked up significantly, but even within the last 2 decades. And there's a big change happening within Europe, where the European people, the populace, the people on the ground level, are moving away from this whole egalitarian liberal ideology that had been the dominant ideology in the West since the start of the 1960s. What this means for the ANC is basically that it is their last chance now to go look at allies within Europe, because Germany, for example, will hold their elections within 2 weeks from now, and the current government, as it stands, is the Christian Social Union, or Christian Democratic Union Alliance, or whatever you want to call that. But these two parties are in government right now, and these two parties are not seen as fully on left wing, but they are also not right wing. They're a very centrist union of parties, and they have been very much controlled by this narrative of egalitarianism. But if you look at the opinion polls, it seems like the Alternative for Germany, or the AfD, Alternative for Deutschland, is the party that will, if they do not win out, or if they do not win by the most votes in that country, they'll most probably be in second place, and the Christian Democratic Union Alliance will fall probably below 30% in Germany. So we're seeing a massive government shift happening there, as well as what we have seen in the Netherlands, as well as what we are seeing in France. And this means that Europe will probably follow America's path, ideologically speaking. And as America has moved quite a lot to the right with Donald Trump and the measures that Donald Trump is taking, Europe seems to be following in those footsteps. Also, we had a speech by the United States Deputy President J.D. Vance to the European Union, which was it went viral on the internet, because he spoke to them straight and told them the facts as it is, and said to them that Europe is being destroyed by their leftism and their egalitarianism. Now, this will probably also have a massive impact on the voters on ground level, which means that the European Union is not going to be, if you want to call it that, an ally of South Africa, especially under ANC rule, for a long time anymore. Now, the other country that we saw that the ANC is planning on going on, and this is actually in the title of this video, is China, or the People's Republic of China. Now, China is most definitely not the country to go to if you want to know how to deal with the United States. The Chinese government does not have a good relationship with the United States. There's an ongoing trade war between China and the US, And also, if you looked at this channel, I made another video where I spoke about why not a single BRICS country had come out in support of South Africa within this mess that was created by the ANC, where the United States sanctioned ANC-led South Africa. And that is because basically China is very afraid of the United States. The United States is the biggest importer of Chinese products in the world. If they start putting more pressure on China and stopping imports from China to the US, it will be devastating for the Chinese economy. It's 16% of the entire Chinese economy only exists because of American companies importing to the United States. Also, we know that a lot of American companies, for example, Apple, produce a lot of their products in China. And the Chinese government know that they can't afford to go into any sort of confrontation with the US, or, if you want to put it like that, any more of a confrontation than they already have. So it is very difficult to figure out why the ANC thinks sending their delegation to China will help them within this diplomatic mission, as they call it, to the United States at all. Now, the United States made up their mind, and I'm going to end off this video with this part. The United States made up their mind when we are talking about these sanctions against South Africa. It does not come from Donald Trump. That's what most people don't seem to understand, is these sanctions do not come from Donald Trump or the Trump administration. Even before Donald Trump took office, or even before the election, there was a bipartisan bill passed in Congress in the United States where the subcommittee for Africa in the United States, which included both Democrats and Republicans, made this introduced this bill to Congress, when they said that South Africa need to be excluded from US aid programs and excluded from any trade agreements that benefit South Africa. And one of the things that they did say there was that all the racial laws in South Africa is human rights abuse, and therefore within the clause of the AGOA agreement, it says that these countries can't commit human rights abuses and still be part of it. But they also very clearly stated that South Africa was moving closer to the enemies of the United States. For example, the military and naval drills that South Africa did with Russia was mentioned there. The ANC's relationship with Iran was mentioned there, and also the fact that the ANC was supportive of Hamas and had good relations with Hamas in Palestine. And then, of course, the main problem for the United States, the fact that South Africa has this close relationship with Iran, and its information indicates that South Africa, that has almost 5% of the world's uranium reserves, along with Namibia, that has a lot more of the world's uranium reserves, wants to team up with Iran within this nuclear development program, where South Africa actually has the ability to enrich uranium, which is what you need to build nuclear bombs, because of the Kuiberg power station that was built in Cape Town a very long time ago, where this uranium can be enriched and then sent to Iran. So, the United States will not fall for any so-called diplomatic mission from the side of the ANC. It is very clear within the facts that I've mentioned within this video. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want more information, be sure to subscribe on this channel. Join our WhatsApp group by sending your name and surname to the number on the screen. And goodbye, and God bless every single one of you.